Hello and welcome to video number 3. We're going to talk about how to gather your list of leads, and you're going to need a list of leads before you get started. Now, there are many different sites that require you to do different things, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. First thing I want to do is talk about organizing your leads. If you don't have a list of leads yet, you can listen carefully to this and just move on. But if you have your leads already, you're going to need to organize them. So if you have your leads, then you're going to need at least their first name, their last name, and their phone number. You're also going to need to have proof as to where you got these leads, because if ever, and I know this is something that you don't really think of, but if ever this happens where you're faced with, people coming at you saying, where'd you get this information? You're always going to have proof that you were given this information and that you are not spamming. You need to know what your plan is beforehand. For example, are you going to use voice messages or are you going to use text messages? If you want to use both, you can, but I would recommend that whatever you start out with, if you're going to stick with voice messages, stick with voice messages. If you're going to stick with text messages, stick with text messages. Just like email marketing, when somebody signs up on your list, they get used to you. They get used to your style of writing and things like that. But in this case, if they're receiving a voice message, then when they expect to receive something from you, then they're most likely going to want to receive that voice message. But if on the other hand they receive a text message from you, when they hear from you, they're going to expect a text message from you, and that will help as well in your conversion rate. Some sites require you to get the person, and what I mean by that is, for example, some sites require to use their system, like Aweber, for example. Aweber requires that, most of the time that they subscribe and they confirm that they actually subscribed on your list, therefore decreasing the spam rate and decreasing the accusations that you might get later on about being a spammer. But some sites require that you import the leads, so you have to have the leads in advance. So what I recommend is this. The first step to any of this is to figure out what site you will use first, and then go from there, whether you use Dial My Calls, whether you use sendtextalerts.com, or whether you use any other site that might send mobile text messages or mobile voice messages. Whatever the case is, you need to figure out that, you need to know your plan, and you need to figure out whether you need to gather leads right now and then import them later, or if there's a system out there that you can just use and go ahead and use and start gathering leads that way. It'll make more sense when I show you the next two videos. Now, for those of you that want to gather a list of leads, I'm going to go over different ways of gathering lists of leads, and then I'm actually going to show you firsthand, step by step, using Aweber. Gathering a list of leads is just like, gathering a first name and email address. In this case, a list of leads is going to be the first name, last name, and the phone number, because we're using mobile marketing. So to get them on your list, just like getting them on your list, any list, you need to give them a reason. You need to give them something. Give them a reason to sign up on your list. Whether it's a discount, let's say you're a restaurant or you're a gym, give them a discount. Give them a free copy of something. And this free copy of something just can't be a free copy of anything. It needs to be a free copy of something that they are willing to pay for, but you're giving them it away for free. Maybe you own a gym. Maybe you could say, okay, you might not want to say something like, free copy of personal training. You might want to give something like, okay, maybe a diet plan. Think of something that people pay for that you could deliver quickly and without wasting your time or spending your time. a free copy of something they're going to pay for, a special deal on something. Maybe if they sign up on your list within the next 7 days, you will give them a special deal on something. Because your goal here is you get them on your list, you gather that list of leads, you need to have proof that they actually signed up on your list. Because, like I said earlier, when you're faced with somebody accusing you of spamming them, they go to the authorities, and then the authorities come to you and say, hey, you're spamming so-and-so. But if you're doing this, you're getting the proof that you need, then you're not going to need, you're not going to have to, you're going to have to go and prove it to people. But yes, I mean, you're not going to have to waste a lot of time because you already have proof. So make sure you back yourself up and keep yourself safe. So in this case, you can use several different autoresponders to gather a list of leads. You can use Aweber, you can use GetResponse, and any other type of service like that. Now, in the next few steps, I'm going to show you how to gather a list of leads in terms of mobile marketing. So I would highly recommend that you use Aweber to gather leads. Now, if you want to know how to set up your list and set up messages and things like that, Aweber is a great place that provides lots of training resources, videos, and step-by-step training to do just that. Now, I primarily want to show you exactly what you want to gather. So if you go to Aweber, you create your list, you go to Web Forms, you click on Create Web Form. This is the place that you need to pay close attention to. So now, because you're gathering leads online, you need to gather three things: their name, their email, and their phone number. Now, you need to make it clear to them whether you are going to communicate with them through email or through phone, because the last thing anybody wants is to be communicated or slammed with emails and texts. So you just need to make sure that they understand that you're only using this so that you can send them information to their email and then contact them through their text messages and stuff like that. So as you can see, by default it's name and email, but we can always add a new field if we want to. So we could say something like phone number. And then it's going to ask you if you want to do text input, select box, radio checkbox, text area, or date. In this case, it is a text input. So click OK. You could say, input type, and let's say you want the phone number in a certain, type. You can do XXX, XXXXX, something, whatever you want, and then you could have it remove the text when it's clicked on. But in this case, we're just going to leave it blank and click on OK. And the beauty of Aweber is you can move this around. Let's say the name should be at the top, phone number, and then the email, or you want the name at the top, the email, and the phone number at the bottom. You could do that as well. Once you're done with that, you can either use a certain template or you can just save the web form. Once you save the web form, you're going to need to, publish or get the thank you page. So thank you page, you could even put a audio version, you can put a video, things like that. When you're ready to publish, you can install the form by clicking install form. Now, I'm not exactly going to go all in depth and show you how to install the form and create a landing page and everything like that. A lot of that detail is already in Aweber itself, but I wanted to show you that just so that you can see what kind of stuff you're trying to gather and give you a good idea of that before you move on to the next step.